my piece is called Songs of My Grandmother. So in this piece, as you can tell, I'm writing about her life experiences as um, she means a lot to me, and I wanted to know more about her myself. And so I wanted to write this piece to sort of feature her experiences as she is from North Korea, and she traveled down to the South when she was in the early 20s, and she actually crossed by foot with my second uncle on her back. So I find
Oh
that
my.
I find that unbelievable as somebody who just grew up in South Korea, and like my grandparents and my parents had to work so hard so that I would have a better life, better education. So sort of I was looking back into the past, and I really wanted to, show my gratitude in some ways. And this piece is my way of showing gratitude, like sort of looking inside what their life would have been like at that time. And then I have three movements in this piece, Songs of My Grandmother. So there are three songs, three movements. The first one, I'm thinking about my grandmother's life as a farmer, as her family was a farmer in North Korea. And then it was behind the mountain I hear, and it was when she married my grandfather that they moved toward the water to the east. So in the first movement, I'm writing about a work song. Yeah, maybe I don't know a work song if that was actually sung, while they're farming, but that's sort of my interpretation of like living as a farmer and working with your family on the land. So that's sort of what I'm thinking.
Is it based on an actual Korean song, or is this one that you've made up a la what you think is typical?
Yeah, I made it up. Yeah. So this is
Okay.
completely my own folk song. And I sort of use the structure of work song though. So you'll hear a lot of repetitions amongst the instruments as if you're working together and then you're singing back.
Is it, when you say the repetition, is it like a call and response, which is very
Oh,
typical of work
yes,
songs?
exactly. So the violin may go ba da dum, and then the clarinet will do ba da dum,
So
ba.
it's
Yeah,
conversation. Okay, great.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the second movement, I write about her transition into the new life after marrying my grandfather who lived by the East Sea. So I heard that my grandfather just sort of left um, North Korea without telling my grandmother. I don't know the whole details with that, but he had left first. So my grandma found out that he had left for good. He obviously told everyone that he was sick and he needed to take time off at work. He was a court clerk. And so he left, and she went to find him to the south. And I don't know if she knew at that time that she would never be coming back, but she never saw her family ever since then. So I think the second movement sort of, I'm looking back, and it's very heartbreaking for me to think that this is the last time that she probably was in North Korea, close to her home. And yeah, yeah, that's what I wrote about in the second movement. There is a ostinato in the piano that happens, da, 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 da. And then I felt like it was sort of flowing and C motive. And I think it's a little sentimental and also a little bit of a pain and struggle in that movement as well.
Okay. Oh, I mean, I've got the image of this young woman with a baby on her back walking
Yeah,
on foot
exactly.
from one country to the other in search of a lost husband. And that's an
Yeah,
incredible image. I hope you
yeah.
lighten the tone by the third movement.
Yeah, the third movement is about her Christianity. She's very, very devout, most devout Christian that I know. So although I'm not very religious, I wanted to write about her Christianity. So I use the song, the Christian hymn "Amazing Grace" in this piece.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're very
so
devout Christian. And what you want to do in honor of your grandmother then is
Yeah.
you incorporate Amazing Grace into this last movement. So how do you do that?
Yeah. So the second movement ends with a really big muddy chord in the piano. And then with that muddiness, the third movement begins. And the clarinet starts the Amazing Grace in the pure form. I don't do anything with it. But then it changes, and then it becomes sort of a folk song again, sort of similar to the first movement, but it's a variation from the Amazing Grace. So you'll hear throughout the last movement sort of a folk songy Amazing Grace. And at that point, it doesn't sound too much like Amazing Grace, but just another wonderful tune. So I sort of use those tunes together and try to tell her story. And I call the last movement Christian Song from the South, and I thought it was very interesting to compare to the Christian song in the South of America, as well as, that was also a really big historical movement in America as well. But in Korea, we also have a very big, Christian movement in the South Korea as well.